Now, when it comes to some of the dimensions for the Tricity, the Tricity, you're looking at the front has got 100mm of travel, and the rear suspension is 84mm of travel. The front brakes are working on a 267mm disc, and the rear is on a single 267mm disc as well. So when it comes to the front braking system on this bike, the front you've got a dual 267mm disc, and at the rear you've got a single 267mm disc as well. The front brakes are really rubbish on their own, but combine it with the foot brake here, or the handbrake at the top, when you get your combined braking, they are really good. It applies both at the same time, and this thing stops very quickly. If you just apply a front brake, it is awful. The front wheel, you're looking at a tyre size of 120, 17 to 14-inch rims, and at the rear 140, 70 and a 14-inch rim as well. The Tricity comes in with two colours at the moment for 2024. You've got petrol blue and the power grey. I haven't seen a petrol blue in the flesh, however online it does it really nice. I do like the power grey though. It's kind of two nice colours that Yamaha have done on this bike to make it stand out from the rest. Yeah, I like the colours. Now, the overall length of this bike is 2,250mm. The wheelbase is 1,595mm. The whole width of the bike is 815mm. The ground clearance on the bike is 130mm. It is very low. You're not going to be using this to go over big monstrous curbs. However, if you're going to get up the odd curb here and there in the city, it's going to give you no problem at all. Now, the seat height on the Tricity comes in at 795mm. So I'm just going to get this off the side stand, kick the side stand up. This is my left foot. Put the parking brake on. Yes, it has a parking brake. So this is my left foot on the bike. My right foot is completely down on the floor. And what I'm just going to do is hold it. So that is now locked. There we go, no hands, no side stand, nothing. Bike is holding itself up. You're looking at the full weight of this bike comes in at 239 kilograms. So it is by no means a light scooter. It is a very heavy bike. It's basically the same size and weight as a normal motorcycle. So therefore you have to take a lot of care when you come to manoeuvring this bike about, because it is no feather. And lastly, it has a fuel capacity of 13 litres. All in all, this is a pretty fun commuting bike to ride. It's definitely going to be aimed at those commuters. So my 360 camera's decided to go to sleep, which is a bit annoying. So I'm just going to come up to a national speed limit. So in the UK, single carriageway like this, we're looking at 60 miles an hour. So roll on 45 up to 60. We're getting there. Hey, 60. So again, this is not a lightning fast scooter. It does the job, but I'll give it credit. At 60 miles an hour, there's not a lot of wind buffeting. You can get a bigger screen as well, which I would definitely do if I was to own one of these. Just helps with wind protection, gives you a little bit of nice protection from all the elements, doesn't it? But yeah, at 60 miles an hour, this thing is pretty stable. It doesn't feel like I'm doing 60, put it that way. It feels like I'm doing about 40 miles an hour, but you do not get any nods from any bikers, which is quite understandable. So yeah, speed run, not a problem. I would obviously take this onto the motorway in a moment, and I'll tell you what though, suspension is a bit of a killer. It is not a light suspension. Brakes, really good. The front brake is shocking. Well, the front brakes are absolutely shocking on their own. They're the best way I could describe them is they're on par with the rear brake on a normal motorcycle. Obviously I cannot apply the rear brake only on this bike. You get the rear and the front together, because the rear lever is combined, like I said. But yeah, when you squeeze that rear lever especially on the foot, you really do feel the bike brake. And when you pull the front lever, you just think, nah, it's not worth it. You're going to be pulling both together, or the rear and the front, depending on what you find most comfortable. Oh, that's not comfy though. God, the suspension would definitely need softening. Slow speed, just dropping down a couple of miles an hour with the front brake only, that's not a problem. Right, so although this bike is going to be best suited for obviously the city environment, I am just going to see and stretch its legs and see what it's like if you want to take it for a bit of a Sunday blast. Obviously you get a bike, you want to enjoy it for the best part of what it can do and what you want. So obviously the ground is a little bit wet today, I'm not going to be going too much, but it's really strange because when you ride this bike it genuinely feels like a two-wheel machine. It doesn't feel like you've got three wheels, and definitely doesn't feel like you've got three wheels being two at the front. So yeah, that's quite a novelty, but I am enjoying it. The windscreen, being the small one, is actually quite good. It keeps a fair amount of wind off your face. I was hoping I'd be able to stretch its legs a little bit on this road, but I'm sat behind cars wanting to do 40 in the 60, and it kind of throws a spanner in the works, doesn't it? And it doesn't have, I mean, there's a couple of good places to overtake on this road if you've got the power, which unfortunately I'm lacking. It is a good scooter and it's stylish, it's different. I mean, how many scooters look this interesting? And let's face it, it can be driven on a car license. That is its main design by Yamaha. So the seat is very, very comfy, it's very spongy, and unlike other scooters, when you sit on them your legs are quite wide apart and you end up, well, I end up having to like shimmy forward, and I know a few other people who ride scooters have said that they do have to like shimmy forward to be able to touch the floor quite comfortably. However, with the Tricity there is nothing like that, because the seating position is such that your legs aren't really far apart, they're quite comfortable. So getting your feet down is not an issue whatsoever. The riding position, you can't fault it, you're bolt upright, you're in a nice posture, you're not going to get fatigued. What else have we got? The wind mirrors, perfect. I'm not having to bend my elbows in, I'm not having to adjust my body position to be able to see backwards. The windscreen, again, absolutely ample protection from the elements. I've got no issue with that. On the near side you've got your horn, you've got your indicators, you've got your high beam, your flash. On the near off side you've got your engine kill, your engine start, your hazards, and also your selector, which goes through the different modes on the screen, and well, the different display options, which are on this just your trips. It comes up with ambient temperatures. Yeah, it's not exciting. It's budget display, but it's not at a budget price. £8,000 to £8,500 starting. It costs a pretty penny, but it does lean in like a motorcycle really well. You really don't notice you've only got, well, you've got an extra wheel at the front. It moves interestingly nice. You can still position yourself really well. The one thing I would say is when, like on a motorcycle, you move over slightly towards the near side, offside curbs, centre res, etc. With this one, you've just got to remember that you've got a wheel very close to the edge of the bike, so you don't have that full capability of moving as freely as you do on a motorcycle, purely on the fact that you've got the extra wheel. I've not had any wobbles, any issues with riding this bike. It seems to do the job very nicely, and when I say that, you get cancel, and when I say that, you get on it, you twist and you go. It is a twist and go. Let's see how quickly, I haven't actually been on the motorway yet with it, so it's be interesting to see how quickly it will accelerate up to the speed limit. Alright, and hopefully you guys can still hear me. Here we go, pinning it wide open. She is wide open on the throttle there. It leans in fantastically. There's a slight gyroscopic effect. I can feel the bike wanting to wash out ever so slightly. They're not too bad. And I'm up to the speed limit. And the wind is comfortable. I've got no excessive wind in my body, in my helmet. I'm not buffeting. It holds its own. Let's get past this car quickly because we're going very slow. Get back in. Yeah, it sits comfortably. It could do with cruise control. That would be quite nice. I don't know if that's an optional extra, but well, I suppose at the end of the day, it's designed as a city bike for those people who drive and don't ride. I've got a bit of vibration coming through the rear wheel. Not overly sure what that is. It's like a vroom, 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 vroom. So that's a bit odd. But all in all, that was quite comfortable. It got up to the speed nice and easy, and like I said, it is just a twist and go. It's not gonna potholes, and yeah, being a twist and go, it's not difficult to ride. It's just difficult, like, you just got to get your balance right if you're not used to driving or riding. Let's get over. So we're still in a national. Can I bring the bike back up to 70? No, because there's too many cars about and no one likes doing 70 on a national speed limit dual carriageway. They all like sitting at 40 and 50. I've never understood that. Ran over. Oh, right, cranked wide open. Here we go. 60, 70. We hit 70. So this bike will comfortably do national speed limits, and it doesn't really seem to be that detrimental to it. It doesn't struggle. And combined braking brings me back down to the speed limit. 76.1 miles per gallon. So she's still raking in amazing miles per gallon. And as you can see, the bike has got no stand on whatsoever at the moment. It is purely being held up by its gyroscope. It's got a centre stand, it's got a side stand, but none of them are working at the moment. It is purely balancing itself. What a fun bike. And to prove that, the bike is still holding itself up. So to prove, there we go. It is balancing all on its own.